The ending of Starfield is just the beginning of another adventure. Entering the Unity to travel the multiverse is how one becomes a Starborn. With every power acquired, do we lose more and more of our humanity? In this video, I will embrace eternity and find out, can you beat Starfield with only Starborn powers? Here are the rules of this challenge. First, I will not skip the main story for this playthrough. Second, I will only damage enemies with Starborn powers. And third, I can only use companions when required by the story. In the main story, collect all the artifacts and unlock the option to start over in a new universe. Each universe has its own set of Starborn temples. Repeating temples for existing powers will increase their level by 1 out of a possible 10. Thus, you would need to play through the game at least 10 times to max out powers. There are 24 Starborn abilities in total. Here are the ones that I use the most. Solar Flare. It depletes a percentage of enemies' health over time. This allows its damage to scale with higher level enemies. At max level, it has a low cost of 10 out of 60 total points. This is the lowest cost ability in the game, and arguably the best. Furthermore, repeat castings on an enemy will stack the damage. Supernova. With a cost of 45, it's not the most economical power. However, its wide area of effect is great for crowd control. Against weaker enemies, you can use this to quickly clear a room. Gravity Well. This power sucks. Literally. Instead of starting in the mine as you do in a new game, I emerged from the Unity aboard my shiny new Starborn ship. Almost as if by instinct, the quest log tells me to go to the lodge to begin my journey. I arrive at the lodge with nothing but the Starborn suit on my back and reintroduce myself to the team. To replay the main quest, I put on my best fake smile and tried to act like I haven't already done this 10 times before. For joining Constellation, I received a rifle, which I sold immediately. From here on, it's the same old, talk to someone, pick up an artifact, and report back to Constellation. While I was repeating the main quest, I did not have to replay all the dialogue, less talking and more blasting bad guys. Amidst the carnage, I picked up a slate about a secret outpost from one of the bodies I looted. More about that later. To mix things up, I used Void Form to become invisible and used Stealth to retrieve Vanguard Moira's slate. I boarded the ship and showed off my new party trick to the Ecliptic mercenaries. They went quiet afterward, so I can't tell if they liked it. I proceeded to the cockpit and got the artifact from the rescued pilot. After turning in the artifact, I headed up to the space station to get my next assignment, find more artifacts, and bring Andreja back to Constellation. While I didn't need the backup, I did not mind receiving praise while I picked off the bad guys.
We are triumphant.
The next part of the quest was to investigate the gravitational anomaly on Prosian 3. As a Starborn, this is something I'm very familiar with. Enter the temple, complete the puzzle, then acquire another power. I returned to the lodge and humored my colleagues, by giving them a glimpse of my abilities. Next, I spoke with Sam to kick off the next mission. We went to the planet Aquila to retrieve another artifact. Upon entering town, the local security tried to warn us about the bank robbery. Little did he know this isn't my first rodeo.
Good guess. It's pretty much exactly right.
After talking failed, I snuck into the bank and dealt with the robbers my way. The marshal thanked us for a job well done, then we re-entered the vault to look for Sam's family map. Of course it wasn't there, and I wasn't going to play dumb. I told Sam to his face that I already knew his father took it. At the Koa estate, I used my inside information to say just the right thing to make Jacob give us the map. After dealing with a handful of Shaw gang members inside the cave, I picked up the artifact and headed back outside. I was able to talk my way out of a fight against the Shaw boss, but we still had to deal with the Ashta. I collected my reward and... why is Sam hiding in the corner? Anyway, it was about time I got around to rescuing Barrett. I set a course for Vectera, caught up with Lynn, and used the spare power cells to get the computer up and running. I tracked down the abandoned research outpost where the pirates were holding Barrett. I'm convinced that Barrett just wanted to hang out with his boys and get away from Constellation for a bit. Look at how relaxed he is. He's not even restrained. I could have saved some time with the Starborn dialogue option, but blasting a group of enemies with Gravity Well never gets old. Next, I took a quick break from the main quest to follow up on that secret outpost. Spoiler alert, this outpost is the lair of the Mantis, a mysterious vigilante feared by many spacers. Ironically, the place was full of spacers. On another note, it was touching to see the tradition of Olympic breakdancing was still going. I carefully navigated the puzzle so as not to activate the traps. In the heart of the lair, I found the Mantis suit. It looks cool, but breaks immersion for a Starborn playthrough. The real reason I came here was for the Razorleaf ship. When piloting this ship, spacers will sometimes disengage from combat out of fear. When I returned to the lodge, I spoke with Walter to begin the next quest. We set a course for Neon, where he had arranged to buy an artifact. This mission has a lot of talking before I get to start blasting people. Here I took full advantage of the Starborn conversation options to speed things along. After concluding the sale, I used my Starborn dialogue to defuse the run-in with the Slayton agent. I did not want the headache of dealing with collateral damage in the busy nightclub. I headed to Slayton Aerospace and got to blasting. Finally, I reached the office and informed Mr. Slayton that he was to be relieved of his duties. Permanently. We returned to my ship, and Walter just had to kill the mood.
Do you really think we did the right thing back there? There was no other way.
After taking off, I finally had my first run-in with another Starborn. They let me go since we're destined to face off later anyway. We returned to the lodge and held an emergency meeting to discuss the Starborn threat. After the meeting, Vladimir gave me the location of a couple more artifacts. Like most of the main story, this is another fetch quest. However, now I get to fight Starborn for the artifacts. This also lets me harvest Quantum Essence. For every Starborn killed, you receive 1 Quantum Essence. When used, these increase your Starborn power regeneration speed for 60 seconds. These are really handy in big fights, so I'll save them for now. I returned to the lodge and spoke to Vladimir. Here is a pivotal point where your choice can alter the story. This is when Vladimir asks you to go to the I space station to help with repairs. If you go along with this, the Hunter will attack after the next mission and you will lose a companion. Option 2. Warn Vladimir about the attack and spare your comrades. This will trigger the Foreknowledge quest. Your task is to take the artifacts and store them for safekeeping, either on your ship or an outpost. Immediately after stashing the artifacts on my ship, the Hunter teleported to my location to have a chat. He applauds me for saving my friends, and it turns out I don't need to steal Petrov's artifact after all.
I hope you weren't planning to visit Captain Petrov and the Scow anytime soon, because they're both in a million pieces.
I returned to the lodge and talked to Mateo to start the Unity mission. We went to the Sanctum Universum to speak with Keeper Aquilus about the Unity. As a Starborn, I was already well versed in the lore around the Unity. The quest was over almost as soon as it started.
I am deeply confused.
I skipped ahead to my meeting with the Hunter and the Emissary. This is usually where they reveal who they really are and info dump about the Unity. Since they already knew everything, they just grilled me about why I chose to repeat the main quest. I set a course for Earth and headed to the NASA building to collect another artifact. On my way out, I had to fight a bunch of Starborn. I could have run away, but I couldn't pass up the chance to collect more Quantum Essence. Outside, I met with the Hunter and Emissary again and told them both to kick rocks. This means that they will join forces against me in the final battle. Now that's what I call unity. I returned to the lodge and spoke with Vladimir one more time to get the location of the last couple of artifacts. One was another generic fetch quest, which ended with me vaporizing a random Starborn. The other was in the research station, also known as the Entangled mission. I was able to save some time on the dialogue by telling everyone what they needed to know. I still had to go through the motions of navigating both realities, but it was nothing I hadn't done before. As usual, I turned off the switches to end the experiment and picked up the artifact. I set a course for Masada 3 and got to blasting the Starborn ships out of the sky. Next, I landed my ship and took the fight to the ground. Right before the encounter with Guardian Musa, I popped a Quantum Essence. With rapid power regeneration, I was able to rain a barrage of attacks on both Musa and his duplicates. The next Starborn raised a bunch of ecliptic zombies. Fortunately, they were low level, so I was able to one-shot most of them. There were 2 more Starborn waiting inside. They barely got a word out before I disposed of them. I reached the lower level and took a Quantum Essence before fighting my duplicates. Lucky for me, the doppelgangers weren't coded to use Starborn powers. Their puny laser cutters tickled my armor. I spammed Supernova until I took out the Starborn Guardian controlling them. Inside the temple, I was face to face with the Hunter and Emissary for the final battle. We briefly exchanged words, then I popped a Quantum Essence and started emptying the clip on them. At max level, Solar Flare already has a low power cost. Combined with the rapid power regeneration from a Quantum Essence, I was able to quickly unload on the bad guys. Since its damage stacks, it was great for eating away at their health. The Hunter went down first, followed by the Emissary about a minute later. I looted the remaining artifacts off their corpses, and that's how I beat Starfield with only Starborn powers. I hope that you had as much fun watching as I did playing. Feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and comment on any challenges that you'd like to see. Check out the video on screen now for another Starfield challenge. Until next time, from Electric Sheep Gaming, this is Chris, signing off.
I guess I shouldn't be too surprised you made it this far. Serves me right for not being convincing enough.